Today we'll be reading The Ruins of Kabus-Dabeh from the Tales of the Jedi Companion by George R. Strayton. The Ruins of Kabus-Dabeh. A settler's life is never-ending hardship, Talov Kursk thought, shaking his head ruefully. His family's harvester loomed over the Muzara savanna. It had crawled along the plains, leaving a swath of freshly tilled and planted soil in its wake. Now it stood silent, smoke wafting up from one of the immense, heavy-duty tread assemblies. Another dislodged track would cost them a whole day's work and hundreds of credits at harvest time. Talov and his brother-in-law Karn walked around the assemblies, assessing the damage. Up in the control cabin, their wives were busily shutting the rest of the harvester down to conserve their power supply. Talov's son Vedel and Karn's daughter Kavi had come with them down the lower inspection hatch stairway. They ran off to explore a lone tree standing on a nearby rise. The two families had pooled their resources, purchased space aboard a Brento League colony ship, and leased a massive treaded harvester. Talov's dream was to make this wild planet fertile, producing food for League settlements burgeoning on nearby systems. If Muzara could be tamed, it would be an ideal place to raise children, far away from the bustling core worlds with their crowded starports and conniving politicians. It wasn't an easy dream to achieve. Like many on Muzara, they had endured a long and cramped journey aboard a colony cruiser. They had been plagued by mechanical breakdowns, malfunctioning droids, and stale supplies. The League took all their money for the beat-up harvester, an obsolete model that spent more time burning lubricant and grinding servos than actually sowing crops. Talov surveyed the track hanging loose from the tread assembly. "We'd better break out the power jack and some spare links," he told his brother-in-law. "The lifter winch wouldn't hurt either." They were interrupted by shouts from the children. Vedel and Kavi ran over from the tree, pointing to the horizon. "Daddy, Daddy!" they cried. "Something's coming this way!" A low cloud of dust hovered on the horizon ahead. Talov pulled his macro binoculars from the belt case and brought them to his eyes. Through the dust, he could see hundreds, maybe thousands of bulky aliens dragging sledges piled with supplies, tents, and other gear. He had heard Muzara was home to nomadic tribes that roamed the savannas, but so far, few settlers had encountered them. "Son, get the blaster rifles," Talov said. "Looks like we've got first contact with the locals." The Muzara negotiations. For decades, the intrepid explorers and traders from the Brento League have been forging hyperspace routes deep into the expansion region. They've created a string of colonies to provide the League with new resources for a booming economy back in the core worlds. Many systems have no indigenous sentient life. These are ideal for settlement and exploitation. Those worlds hosting native species pose problems. Can settlers and the local cultures coexist? You've recently heard talk of a conflict on a Brento League colony not far away. Settlers on Muzara are at odds with the native Muza, a sometimes aggressive nomadic species which has little concept of land ownership. The League settlers don't want to fight, they just want to farm vast sections of Muzara's fertile plains. The colony's administrator has tried to negotiate some kind of agreement with the Muza. The Brento League frowns on violence and would much rather profit from a new species than instigate a conflict with it. Fearing the situation could degenerate into open warfare, the settlers have called upon the Jedi Knights to intervene and find some peaceful solution. The matter has fallen under your master's jurisdiction. Many Jedi are off handling other pressing conflicts, and few of your fellow students are prepared for such a challenge. Master Matien has charged you with negotiating a truce between the Muza and the colonists. A Brento League transport pilot picks you up from the tranquil Jedi retreat where you've been completing your studies. Master Matien hands you a datapad containing a source file on Muzara. After encouraging you to read up on your assignment, he bids you well. "Remember," he says, "a Jedi peacemaker uses all his available resources but one, violence. Know the difference between a show of power and its blatant misuse. Now go. A greater galaxy awaits you." You board the transport and blast off from Muzara. The journey only lasts a few days in hyperspace. You use the time to read the information Master Matien gave you on Muzara, and to review your negotiation techniques and the tactics used in classic debates of the past. You are confident in your diplomatic abilities to solve the conflict between Muza tribes and human colonists. When you arrive at the Brental League settlement, it doesn't seem like you're going to display those talents yet. The colony administrator and several upstanding citizens escort you to the nearby Muza encampment. You are brought before the clan chiefs, immense brutes with large, scoop-teeth overbites and massive forearms. They inspect you carefully with their tiny, retractable eyes. They spend a moment deliberating in their own language, then announce their decision. Before the Muza clan chiefs will recognize the authority of an outside moderator, he or she must pass a test of character, skill, and willpower. The chief clansman explains,
"Members of your kind have chosen you as adjudicator in this conflict. You must meet our standards before we accept your judgment. To the north lies a deep-cut canyon. At the end of it you will find ruins, all that is left of dark Kabus-Dabeh. They are the remnants of an ancient and evil people. You must go there. One of our bravest protectors has placed a skoom-hide bag of metal coins somewhere in the ruin. You must find this bag and return it here. If you persevere, you will prove your worth. If you do not, we will not regard you as an honorable negotiator."
It seems you have little choice but to undergo the test. If you don't, you will doom the Muza and Brental colonists to a long and bloody war. You make sure your thermocanteen is filled with cool water, and check that your lightsaber is securely clipped to your belt. After bowing before the Muza clansmen and the settlers, you begin hiking northward. You travel barely a kilometer when you see the plains have been cut by a deep canyon. Following it from above, you eventually find an entrance. It seems the gorge was cut many years ago by a fast-flowing river, which emptied out into one of Muzara's large lakes. You continue up the canyon. A stream winds down one side of the rocky cleft. The water is dark and smells musty. As you walk deeper into the gorge, the walls begin to close in. Soon, though, the passage opens up. Crumbling ruins stand guard at the canyon's end. You have reached Kabus-Dabeh. The remains of several stone foundations litter much of the ground. Several features catch your eye as possible hiding places for the bag of metal coins you're supposed to retrieve. A dark cave mouth gapes at you from the left cliff face. The stream runs right by a stone well to the right. A broken road seems to lead along the stream edge toward a small pond filled with dark water. An immense pyramidal structure dominates the head of the canyon. Peering upward, you see a bag sitting atop the uppermost platform. Here's where your adventure begins, as you venture deeper into the ruins of Kabus-Dabeh. I hope you've enjoyed this reading of The Ruins of Kabus-Dabeh